Coming up tonight, field hockey looks to make their first appearance in the Big East tournament.
And men's ice hockey looks to rebound this weekend versus Maine.
2 analysts will join us to talk about the scariest players in MAAC volleyball.
All this and more coming up next on Sports Paws. Happy Halloween Eve, everyone. I'm Mike Singer alongside Jackie Idrovo, who is celebrating her birthday tomorrow.
We have a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in. Over the weekend, women and men's cross country competed in the MAAC championships. Let's see how things turned out. The women's cross country team finished first overall, going back-to-back in the MAAC championships. Corrine Barney finished in third, followed by Alessandra Safini in fourth. Rachel St. Germain in 6th, Emily Young in 8th, and Liv DeStefano in 10th. All 5 runners finished with All-MAAC team honors. The men's team finished 9th overall, while Nolan Kuss led the team, finishing in 36th place. Andrew Woodbine and first-year Michael Strain also finished in the top 100. After the women's team took home their second title, their head coach took home some hardware of her own. For the second year in a row, Carolyn Martin was awarded the MAAC Cross Country Women's Coach of the Year award. Martin is currently in her 14th season as head coach at Quinnipiac. A former student athlete herself, this award marks Martin's 6th time a Conference Coach of the Year award. The award comes after leading the Bobcats to 2 consecutive MAAC championships.
Moving to the turf, the field hockey team hosted Temple. We're going to get a chance to look at them right now. They're going to get back into the Big East. Let's roll the tape. Let's see how they did. The Bobcats faced off against the Temple Owls in a must-win game to make the Big East tournament. A win for UConn or Providence, a loss for them will secure Quinnipiac a spot in the tournament. Temple just needs a win to make it. One of the Bobcats' top scorers, Amelia Mazzarelli, returned to action for the first time since October 1st to try to help the team get a massive win. As we start in the second quarter, Owls junior midfielder Kevin Kenzel gets the corner and she strikes it in for the first goal of the game, 1-0. The Bobcats are going to look to answer as Stella Tigmeyer drives down the baseline and finds junior Lucia Pompeo, who tips the puck, the ball in with 4 minutes remaining in the first. The game is tied up. Now during the second half, UConn loses to Old Dominion in overtime. Quinnipiac needs a win, but the Owls, Kenzel again gets the ball from a penalty corner and takes the lead back right into the open net. With a little over a minute left in regulation, Tigmeyer again hits the ball off the post and graduate student Sophia Pompeo gets the rebound. This game is all tied up. Going into overtime, Quinnipiac looking to keep their season alive. Temple misses a shot off a penalty corner, but senior midfielder Myrna Schulenberg scores the game winner for the Owls, keeping their season alive. The Bobcats fall 3-2 and will end their season Sunday against Drexel.
After facing Temple, the Bobcats went on to finish the season against Drexel. Take the highlight. With no Big East tournament in their future, the Bobcats look to end the season on a high note against the Drexel Dragons. This is the first time in program history the 2 teams have played each other. We'll head straight to the second quarter after both teams had a quiet offensive first quarter. Natalie Foster has a great chance but gets rejected by Christina Torres twice, so we'll head to the second half scoreless. Since the last game of the season, head coach Nina Klein makes the call of the bench, letting Nina Santor in the goal for the last half of the season. It doesn't take long for Drexel to strike as they convert on this penalty corner, as Santor is unable to corral the rebound. Drexel looking ready for that first round CAA matchup against William & Mary's. Drexel isn't done just yet as they get a breakaway chance and Delphi Cabral scores on this nice pass and spin to get around Santor. Let's take another look at this one, Mike.
A beautiful goal. You look at the replay right now. A wide open net on the backhand right into the empty net. You love to see that goal.
Quinnipiac ends up losing their first program matchup against Drexel as the Bobcats were only able to get 3 shots on goal as the Dragons defense head into the tournament on a high note with a 2-0 win. Nina Santor recorded 6 saves and only allowed 2 goals. After the game, Nina Klein talked about her overall impressions from her first season. Let's see what she had to say.
I'd say just having a short memory. I feel like all year we kept hitting adversity, a lot of like 1-goal games, but really just making sure that we're steadfast on the next task at hand or the next opportunity to win.
Field hockey beat reporter Brittany Braun-Lieben spoke to Katie Shanahan about her season and what she hopes for the future.
On Sunday, the Quinnipiac field hockey team's season came to an end when they lost to Drexel 2-0. One player that stood out this entire season was first-year Katie Shanahan.
She came in ready as could be. Like, she was one of our fittest players coming in. She did a lot of work over the summer to be in a position that she could, see a lot of time this season. Definitely someone that was just very reliable, and I would say growth-wise, I think just her ability to adapt and was very coachable throughout the season. So I'm very excited. It's crazy that she's only a first year, because at times like she's playing like a junior or senior. So her growth ceiling is going to be awesome.
This year, Shanahan stepped into the position of playing center back for the Bobcats defense.
Yeah, playing center back, you definitely have to communicate a lot and kind of tell everyone where to be. I think I was a little bit timid at first, and the older girls were like, Katie, you can tell us where to go. We trust you. So having them being supportive was really helpful.
Shanahan's confidence grew with playing this big role for the team with the help and support from her teammates.
Yeah, I definitely say the seniors, but in particular, Mika, Jules, Liv, they've just been awesome since day one. They're always checking on me, and then on the field during the game, they're always getting me up, and of course with a bunch of other upperclassmen leaders, but they really pushed me the whole season and made me feel like I was a big part of the team, which I was.
With this only being her first year on the team, Shanahan looks to see ways for the future which she can help improve to help out her team.
I think I have a high hockey IQ, so just working on my skills this spring, my individual skills, and then bringing that to the team mentality.
Katie Shanahan will continue to anchor the team as a center back for this Bobcat team. I'm Brittany Brown-Lieben reporting for Q30 Sports.
This weekend, the men's ice hockey team returned home and hosted the Maine Black Bears. Let's see how Game 1 played out. Night 1 of the weekend series between the Quinnipiac Bobcats and the visiting Maine Black Bears was a night of high offense for both teams. You look at the men's ice hockey team coming out right now. In the first period, the Bobcats saw momentum in the first 7 minutes, but this huge save from the goalie Osman kept the score even at 0, but eventually Maine recaptured the momentum and capitalized with a goal 3/4 of the way into the period. 1-0 Maine, the loose puck at the crease. In the second period, Osman continues his incredible crease protection as he robs Quillen of the equalizer. Soon after, Christoph Fillion lights the lamp from the top of the circle. The game is tied at 1. Look at the Selly. In the third period, it was full of chances like this one from Sam Lipkin on the wide open breakaway, but is again robbed by Osman. And as a result, this game needs some overtime action. Down to just over a minute left, Chabrir ends it, and the Maine Black Bears win in dramatic fashion in an upset. 3-2 in overtime is your final from Hamden as you look at the box score. 2-1 Maine in overtime. Following Friday's loss, the men's team looked to bounce back with a win in Game 2 against Maine. Now, as you look at all the fans pulling up, they have the pink breast cancer noisemakers with them. The pink men are even out there as well. In the first period, David Brazil fires a rocket from the point that beats Vinny Duplessis. It's 1-0 Maine. But the score is not going to stay 1-0 as CJ McGee answers shortly after with a point shot of his own, tying the game up. Heading into the second period, a little pump fake and a celly there, and they go into the neutral zone for the team hug. In the second period, Travis Treeler picks up a loose puck, turns on the Jets for the breakaway as he uses his speed to come in all alone and puts it top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Quinnipiac up 2-1. This play starts and ends with Mason Marsalis, who has a beautiful wraparound goal. Quinnipiac has the 3-1 lead. In the third period, Maine on a 5-minute power play, Quinnipiac having none of it as they go for the empty net goal. That final is 4-1. McGee Marsalis both with the important goals for Quinnipiac.
After a full weekend of games, let's see where the Bobcats stand in this week's men's USCHO poll. There were some massive shakeups in this week's poll as we see a new number 1 in the Boston College Eagles. Behind them are the Denver Pioneers staying at number 2, North Dakota jumping up to the 1 spot, jumping up 1 spot to 3 and Michigan up 2 spots to 4. Wisconsin is the highest climber this week after sweeping Minnesota at number 5. Minnesota is right behind the Badgers, though, at 6, with Providence sticking at number 7. For another week, Quinnipiac dropped 1 spot after the split with Maine.
We've gone from cross country to ice hockey, but now it's time for a break. When we come back, women's soccer learned who they will play in the MAAC tournament and also saw quite a few players win.
And then we'll go from the field to the gym. The volleyball season will be winding down. We'll review this team's weekend and break down the scariest players around the MAAC. Sports Paws will be right back.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Drew, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back to Sports Paws, and thanks for staying with us. The women's soccer team played Manhattan in their final game of the regular season. The Bobcats tied the Manhattan Jaspers 2-2. Despite the draw, the Bobcats did secure the undefeated season with a conference record of 9-0-1. Emily Vandervlei and Lily Schneiders both scored for the Bobcats. Vandervlei has had 6 goals in her last 6 games, while Schneiders picked up her 5th goal of the season. Nicolette Canada and Arancha Antunes potted 2 goals past Sofia Los Pinoso. This is the first unbeaten conference season the Bobcats have had since joining the MAAC. The team will now turn their focus to the playoffs and their semifinal match against Rider. Let's take a look at the bracket. 6-seeded Rider upset 3-seeded Canisius 1-0 in the first round on Sunday. Meanwhile, 4-seeded Mount St. Mary's beat 5-seed Niagara in penalty kicks 3-1. After the final regulation score was 0-0. Quinnipiac hosted host Rider at 2 o'clock on Thursday after having a bye for the first round of the tournament. Mount St. Mary's takes on Fairfield University at 7 o'clock on Thursday. The winners of both games will face off in the championship game on Sunday. The MAAC has revealed their all-conference teams as the regular season has come to a close. Which Bobcats made the cut? The answer is a lot of them. Forward Courtney Chokel, midfielders Markela Bailari and Emily Vandervlei, defenders Olivia Scott, Madison Mandler, and Michaela Mingachos, and goaltender Sofia Los Pinoso all earned first-team honors. Midfielder Ella Gagnon and defender Victoria Foster were named to the second team, and forwards Evelyn Key and Lily Schneiders earned third-team honors to round out the group. The Bobcats' 11 players make up 33% of All-MAAC players selected this year. On top of the many all-conference selections, the Bobcats also took home some individual awards. Forward Courtney Chokel took home the Golden Boot behind 7 goals and 9 assists in 15 games. Goaltender Sofia Los-Pinoso taking home the Golden Glove after posting 6 shutouts in 15 games and a goals allowed average of 1.05. And the strong backline of Markela Baileri, Kayla Mingachos, and Olivia Scott were named the Tri-Defensive Players of the Year, coming in a 3-way tie for the award. The Bobcats nearly swept the individual awards with only Rookie of the Year eluding the team. There's one more award remaining for MAAC Women's Soccer, this one honoring their head coach. In his 24th season coaching, the Bobcats head coach Dave Clark took home MAAC Coach of the Year. After leading the team to an 11-3-1 record and going undefeated in conference play at a record of 9-0-1, Clark has led the defending MAAC champions to yet another regular season title going back-to-back. Clark now looks to lead his team to another MAAC tournament championship and complete the repeat this weekend. This is the first Conference Coach of the Year award Clark has won.
Moving off the pitch, let's head over to Burt Concourt to see how the volleyball team performed this weekend. The Bobcats swept the Iona Gales in 3 sets last Wednesday during the match. 3 players recorded double-doubles: Ariana Diaz, Ginevra Giovannioni, and Damla Gunesh. Diaz led with 17 kills and 17 digs. Giovannioni had 13 kills and 13 dings, while Gunesh also had 36 assists and 13 digs. With the win, the Bobcats improved to 15-7 and 11-2 in the MAAC. This was the Bobcats' 8th straight win at home. After the win, the Bobcats went on to face the Fairfield Stags the next day. Roll it! Quinnipiac taking on in-state rival Fairfield on Sunday in their Dig Pink game. Let's get right into the first set where we see Lexi Morse spiking a nice quick attack down with the power for the point. Later on the set, Ginevra Giovannioni makes a diving dig to keep the ball in play, and Leilani Justa hits a nice ball which will eventually drop for the point, trying to get the Bobcats get back in the set. But it's too little, too late, as Fairfield would take the set after this Leilani Justa double touch. They would win by a score of 25-22. On to the second set where a crazy rally ends in the huge block by Lexi Morse. The senior captain was dominating the net on Sunday. Continuing on, Damla Gunesh sets up Giovannioni once again for a powerful kill on the left side, knocking over a Fairfield receiver with that spike. Then to end the set, it's Ariana Diaz with a back row attack winning the set and tying the match at 1 for both sides. Third set action, Quinnipiac continues with a crazy play for Damla Gunesh, dumping the ball over the net with one hand. Could we see this later in top 5? Who knows? Now the Bobcats are rolling, and the connection from Gunesh to Diaz comes through again as she blasts this one right through the defenders to keep the momentum going. Did you think Diaz was done? Not a chance. Combo block with Lexi Morse to seal the set away. Bobcats take set 3 by a score of 25-21. Fourth set, Quinnipiac 1 away from winning it all late in the set. Who can you go to? Yamir Ganesh would be the correct answer. Big kill for her right there. And to ice the game, Bailey Bashir stops the attack with all her might and wins the match for the Bobcats. The team runs onto the court to celebrate, and the fans are hyped after a big win for the Bobcats. The team will return to action this weekend as they take on Marist in their push for the number 1 seed heading into the MAAC tournament. Now joining is volleyball beat reporters Paul Syracuse and Eli Ehlers to discuss the scariest players in MAAC volleyball.
Thanks, Mike and Jackie. Now, me and Paul are here, and we're going to be breaking down the scariest players in the MAAC as we get into the later half of the regular season and into the playoffs. Now, Paul, who's your scariest player right now?
So my scariest player has to be Fairfield outside hitter Michaela Hout. She's nearing 200 kills and 150 digs on the season. She also recorded 16 kills on Sunday against Quinnipiac. And when you take into account that Fairfield was in the MAAC title game last year, one of the main reasons why was the play of KJ Johnson, who was a former MAAC Player of the Year award winner. So when you take into who Hout has replaced this season, she has certainly done very well at filling the shoes of KJ Johnson.
Yeah, now, well, Paul, that's a great player, but my player is Hope Matchner, the Iona libero. She is the backbone of their defense, and she is a stellar defensive player. She currently has 611 digs. Now, Paul, the number 2 player has around 250. So she has completely doubled that and has taken control for this Iona defensive backcourt and has done a very good job for them to be able to slow down their game, put that defense into offense, and be able to get them a lot of big points. You talk about the Quinnipiac game. When they traveled to Iona, Quinnipiac was forced to play a fourth set, which was not really something that everyone was looking to happen. And so she did a really good job on that defensive court to be able to help them. Now, as we get into the later half of the season, I think Hope Matchner and this Iona team is a very underrated team, Paul. Right now they're in the 5 seed, and there's only 6 teams that are going to be making it. So they're on the cusp, and we're not quite sure if they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they have a good chance of making it, but I think they're an underrated team that could potentially go further in the MAAC if you take away a team like Quinnipiac or take away a team like Fairfield. Now, Paul, I know we got to agree here. So we have Sasha Vandermeer. She is the Marist outside hitter. What do you like about her?
So when you look at her stats this season, she's currently number 2 in kills this year. She led the MAAC last year in kills. And when you look at a team such as Marist, there was a good portion of the year where they were the number 1 seed and were at a spot where they looked to be similar to where Fairfield and Quinnipiac were forecasted before the season. So when you take into account their expectations and considering where they are right now, it just shows how well they've been playing. They started out really well. They haven't played as well as of late, but if they can turn it around a little bit, we could see a similar run that we saw from Quinnipiac last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about the run that Quinnipiac had last year. They went in as I believe, the number 6 or 7 seed. So they're a pretty underrated team, Marist is, and I think they've sort of hit a lull as they got into this later half of the season. I know they've had a couple injuries, but I think they've done a good job to be able to, keep that momentum going and potentially make that big run. Now, those are Paul and I's scariest players in the MAAC. Now, back to you guys at the desk.
On the road this weekend, the women's hockey team traveled up north to face the Clarkson Golden Knights. On Friday, the Bobcats faced off against the Golden Knights. Quinnipiac would lose for the first time this season 3-1. Both teams would remain scoreless throughout the first period. Clarkson would put up 1 goal in the second period before scoring 2 more during the third period. With less than 3 minutes remaining in the third period, goalie Logan Andres would be pulled from the game, allowing Maya Labad to score after a scramble for the puck in front of the net. The Bobcats now moved to 8-1 on the season. After their loss at Clarkson, the Bobcats took the road trip to St. Lawrence. Quinnipiac suffered their second loss of the season on Saturday after losing 4-1 to St. Lawrence. Both teams put up a goal during the first period. Sadie Peart would score for the Bobcats on a tip-in off a pass from Maya Labad. The St. Lawrence Saints would then answer with 3 more goals during the third period after a scoreless second period. Quinnipiac now moves to 8-2 on the season. They will now face Dartmouth at home on Friday, followed by Harvard on Saturday. After a weekend trip upstate, let's see where the Bobcats stand in the women's USCHO poll. No changes in the top 4 this week, with the Wisconsin Badgers retaining their spot in first, Ohio State in second, Colgate in third, and the Minnesota Golden Gophers rounding out the top 4. Clarkson and St. Lawrence, whom the Bobcats dropped games to, sit in 5 and 6. Local rivals Yale sit in 7th place currently. Minnesota Duluth rounds out the top 8. Quinnipiac dropped 4 spots this week to 9, and Cornell sits behind the Bobcats in 10th.
We are now going to take our final break of the evening, but don't go anywhere. Coming up on Sports Paws, men's soccer had 2 home games this week, still looking for their first conference win of the year. Could they get it done?
And of course, the best time of the night, top 5 plays. We'll see what tricks and treats the Bobcats delivered this week. Sports Paws will be right back after this.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Thank you for sticking with us tonight. Let's jump right into it with men's soccer. Last Wednesday, the men's soccer team faced off against Manhattan and fell 3-2. Much of the first half remained scoreless before Manhattan got on the board at the 48th minute. The Bobcats would head into the half trailing 1-0. During the second half, Tomas Vakula would score twice for the Bobcats, once off a pass from Lucas Paredes and then off a penalty kick set up by Jason Budai. But the Jaspers stormed back in the final 20 minutes and scored two more goals to win it 3-2. That loss eliminated the Bobcats from MAAC playoff contention.
The team then took on Niagara for their senior day on Saturday. Let's take a look. The 3-1 victory over Niagara marks their first conference win of the season, and it broke a losing streak dating back to September 9th, with the score tied at 0 going into the second half. Niagara broke the seal first after Dominic Sinatra got on the board first. Quinnipiac then scored 3 straight goals. Tomas Vakula scored twice for the second straight game, and Rashim Dilsus scored his first goal as the Bobcats cruised to a 3-1 win. Quinnipiac now adds their 3rd win of the season and improves their MAAC record to 1-4. After a weekend of games, one Bobcat took home a weekly award from the MAAC. Graduate forward Tomas Vakula took home MAAC Offensive Player of the Week, putting up 2 goals in each game against Manhattan and Niagara this past weekend. The former first-team All-MAAC forward in 2022 has been hot as of late, with 8 points in the last 3 games for the Bobcats. Vakula and the Bobcats look to finish on a high note this weekend with their matchup versus Fairfield. The men's ice hockey team, Jackie, you know what? We're in the Halloween season. It's time to talk some candy, right?
No, Mike, it's time for the top 5 plays. We start off with field hockey, do or die for the Bobcats, and Sophia Pompeo puts one past the goaltender to force overtime. Both Pompeo sisters score in the overtime loss.
Now going to women's ice hockey on the road, Maya Labad tosses it out in front. Sadie Peart, bingo was her name. Oh, she deflects it past Quinnipiac 4-1.
Staying on the ice, we go to men's ice hockey for play number 3 as Travis Treeler goes on the breakaway and jukes out the goalie for the sliding goal. Bobcats would take a 2-1 lead in game 2.
Number 2 for 2 weeks in a row, Mason Marsalis with the crafty wraparound goal. He sees himself in the top 5 2 weeks in a row. Quinnipiac won that game 4-1.
Play number 1 goes to volleyball with this sneaky kill by Dom Lagunesh. So good, we'll have to take another look. QU beats Fairfield for sole possession of first place in the MAAC.
Now, Jackie, looking at that top 5, I would have to say, at least my favorite, Travis Treeler, upstairs, top shelf. You know, that's where Mama hides the cookies, of course.
I'm going to take volleyball on this one. They're still a dominant team. Volleyball?
I don't know. I got to go with Travis Treeler on that one, at least. I mean, how can you not? The little crafty forehand, backhand puts it top shelf over the blocker side. I mean, no hate to Domla Ganesh, of course, but I think that crafty little Treeler upstairs.
Nope, still volleyball. They're the first seed in the MAAC. They're sitting up top right now. What's men's ice hockey doing?
I mean, they got 2 wins, overtime, and of course they got the win the other night, 4-1. But talking about men's ice hockey right now, I think a player that you have to see, Vinny Duplessis, playing out of his mind right now. We saw a couple of great saves in that game, the second game, for the men's ice hockey team. I think now when they look to Dartmouth this weekend, they're going to be on a roll. They got all the momentum on their side.
Are they going to be on a roll, though? Are they really, though?
I do think so. I mean, yes, the volleyball team is going into a big match. They're going into a big set, but I do think I got to take it for men's ice hockey. Boy, would you look at the time? Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have.
Make sure to follow us on social media at Q30 Sports and stay connected online at Q30TV.com.
From all the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes, I'm Mike Singer. Alongside the soon-to-be birthday girl, Jackie Idrovo, we wish you all a great rest of your night.